All right, what up, people? What's going on? What's going on? We got RKT Appraisals in the building. What up? What's going on? So today's topic is interesting, man. So we talking about how COVID is affecting your pockets, man. This is gonna be crazy. Oh, Miles Cunningham is coming in the building. What's going on?
My bad. Did you change the link?
Nah, I gave you the new one.
That's what I'm saying. The new.
Okay. Yeah, the link for this one. Yeah.
Okay. I was in the fucking back room. I was in the backstage shit, just chilling by myself. Like,
nah. Yeah, that should be happening because like when you change the links.
Yeah. My bad. I was sitting here for the last 55 10 minutes, like just chilling, waiting for y'all.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was waiting for me. But anyway, crazy.
Oh man. So yes, I was saying this interesting topic of how how COVID is affecting your pocket. So what's your thoughts on that? Like how is it affecting people's pockets nowadays? What's going on?
Yeah, man. I mean, it goes deep, man. It's affecting your pockets in many ways. Some of the things that me and Katie were talking about, as far as one way is, for example, cars right now at an all-time high as far as used car sales. So perfect example is so real. Just yesterday, I already knew what was going on anyway, but just yesterday, went to go get a car, one of my relatives, and a 2015 Toyota RAV4 with 90,000 miles is selling for $25,000.
Wow. What? That's crazy.
That's fake. And no exaggeration, all SUVs, all used cars are literally up 25%, and there's no exaggeration. Not only up 25%, but with the miles of the car, that type of miles, you would never pay that type of money. That car is supposed to be worth like $8,000. You know what I mean in real life. But because of the pandemic, how it's affecting your pockets to the point is that what happened was because of the pandemic, the big manufacturers, Toyota, all the people who make cars, they didn't want to make too many cars because they didn't want to not sell them.
It's a
so
shortage.
They stopped making cars. So what ended up happening was when they stopped making all those cars, people was like, all right, let me start. When those little peaks, when COVID dipped a little bit, people went out and started buying cars, and they didn't have enough new cars to sell them. So what ended up happening was now it was only used cars left, and so used cars left was top dollar now. It was like, damn, I don't want to pay for this. They don't have no new cars. All they got is these used cars. So the dealerships and the manufacturers like, wait, how much are people willing to pay for this used car right now?
Right.
And they really pay that money because they couldn't get a new car. So by default, let me buy this old car. So that's one way how the pandemic literally affects your pockets, with products and availability and things like that.
So that's like a prime example of some of the like elementary laws of business where you lower the supply and it increases the price.
Right.
The supply gets low, demand gets high. When demand gets high, you have the option to increase the price because it's like, nigga, where else you gonna go? Like, right. You gotta buy it if you want it. Like, I remember, I went to Florida for a wedding that I had to do, and luckily I reserved a rental car, but I still had to wait on a line for like an hour and 30 minutes to actually get my rental car.
Right.
That I already had reserved. Because you know how usually you just walk up to the counter, hey, reservation, give my name, driver's license, and then like 5 minutes you out of there. They give you the paper and then the keys, and then you go get it. Bruh. It was a line, like a crazy line, and it was over an hour wait to get a car. It was ridiculous, bro. It was ridiculous, and all because of the shortage. And people who didn't reserve, they was waiting for nothing, basically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And but what Rashidi's saying is absolutely correct. Like there was a huge shortage because man, the way that everything shut down and paused, it caused a lot of disruptions.
Right.
You understand? It caused a lot of disruptions with regular life where it's like, oh yeah, you think you could get a rent a car or you think you like even restaurants, like you go to a restaurant, you're waiting a little bit longer to eat at a restaurant.
Right.
Because a lot of people messed up with the pandemic. A lot of people went and got other jobs. A lot of people went and started doing online businesses and other stuff. It's hard for them to find waiters and waitresses now. Like I went to a restaurant the other day and they had this big old sign talking about $200 sign-on bonus.
Right.
And this was like a Applebee's or something. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. Like it's a lot of things that change, man. A whole lot of things that change. But I see the pandemic ain't affecting Kaylene's pocket. You know what I'm saying? He over here all fresh with the, you know what I'm saying, looking like a he wearing the jacket like you know how billionaires wear the jacket. He got a t-shirt with the jacket. This nigga out here. Come on, man. Oh, he looking all shiny and shit. You know what I mean?
Vegas, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, this nigga go taking trips to Vegas and buying souvenir t-shirts? Oh my God. Jesus. That's an example of disposable income. Niggas out here suffering in the pandemic and you buying souvenir t-shirts, nigga. God damn.
I mean, I think
no, you can't leave me. You cutting out.
Oh shit!
And here's the thing, and this is super important. I'm cutting out. Can you
hear me? I hear you now. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you get you now.
Okay, now I was saying that this is the important part. The problem is there's certain industries that are recession proof. Certain industries are recession proof.
Like the souvenir t-shirt industry?
Financial service is one of them. Yes. Financial services is one of them. So how did COVID affect a lot of people's pockets in a negative way? But like I said, depending on what industry you're in, it didn't finances. As a matter of fact, it did the exact opposite. Because when people had jobs, they were additional income to provide that. When people were passing away,
you got to switch back to the phone, bro.
You have to, Kayleen, you have to switch back to the phone because you cutting it out.
Yeah,
get out of here, nigga.
Yeah. So I mean to go off it. Well, I'll let him come back and finish his point. But now, man, the pandemic affected pockets in many ways. I mean, go back to what you were saying a little while ago, Miles. As far as demand and stuff like that, that's legit a real thing. I mean, even to go as far as to say groceries, you know what I mean? Groceries at a high demand. I mean, because the pandemic, it's so everything is interconnected to the pandemic. And even to go back to the point with the restaurant, it's so real right now. Think about it. Not only with restaurants that they have sign-on bonuses, but some restaurants, if you don't make a reservation, you can't eat. So think about that, how that affects your pockets. If you want to go out to eat at a restaurant and you can't eat because you ain't make a reservation, you ain't had time to do it, or if the line is too long, you know what I mean? You're gonna go somewhere else that you didn't expect to spend money to go eat somewhere that's available. So you might have to go down the street where the price on the menu might be $10, $15 higher, and you can squeeze in there. It's unplanned, it's unexpected. It's costing you more money. Yo, it's insane right now when it comes to this pandemic, how it's affecting everybody's pockets. You know what I mean?
That's facts.
And so do you think because there's probably a lot of businesses that feel like, because when you was talking about the car thing, I was thinking that they raised the price because they was also like losing out on money when the pandemic was happening because nobody was buying shit. You feel what I'm saying? So now that people are buying shit, they try to make up for the the time that they didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like make money. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's exactly why it's getting deep, Mr. Locario, because that's the exact piece I didn't even mention. That what you just said, because that is part of the strategy. But literally, what happened was that, like I said before, the manufacturer stopped making them because they didn't want to make too many products and not sell them, and then they made mad money off that. And then right after that, like you literally just said, they also was like, "Man, let me drive the prices because let me take advantage of while it's hot right now, while everything's going good. Let me take advantage of it and let me raise the prices on this too because I don't know what's gonna happen. Because guess what? Everybody's getting ready for the everything to shut down because of the Delta. So that's why you see prices soaring right now for everything. Just to your point, Ms. Locario, like literally that's what's happening right now. You're trying to get it, and people trying to make up for lost time. Nobody's gonna admit they're gonna make up for lost time, but clearly they're making up lost time for the prices at everything you see in every store. Everything's sky high. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
And so, Kaylee, what were you saying before? Because you were now.
Am I clear now?
Yeah, you good. Go ahead.
All right, awesome. No, what I was saying is that like everybody got affected from it negatively for the most part. But I was saying there's just certain industries that don't get affected by it. You get what I'm saying? And financial services is one of them. You know, so
like I said, as far as the business opportunities that was offered. So when people were losing their jobs, you could have got a job in financial services. People were dying from COVID. It was alarming for other people. So now it made them realize how important it was to get things like life insurance, to properly plan for retirement. It was alarming. You get what I'm saying? So an industry like financial services thrived in a time when it's sad to say when people were not doing so well.
Oh, so that explains the fly jackets and t-shirts and shit.
That explains the fly jacket and t-shirts. Yes, that's exactly the answer. You know, but it's real. And I mean, but there definitely are. So, for example, there's a lot of jobs, right, where you can work remotely from home, right? So were they affected? Yes, but not as bad as someone who had to actually go to a physical location and they were depending on that for work. Like if you worked at a restaurant, like Miles was saying earlier, or if you worked at a retail store, and even just in general retail stores, because of Amazon, like retail stores, they're not even doing as well as they used to anymore. You know what I'm saying? So these things were definitely affected by COVID, and along with many, many other industries and a lot of companies that are out there were affected by COVID. How did it affect the average person's pockets today? So now, from what I've seen and from the research that I've done, I feel like because of inflation also, with COVID, it made things even 10 times worse than it could have been, inflation by itself. So now, as a matter of fact, when it comes to almost anything, like even living with somebody or staying with somebody that you don't even want to be with, you're thinking twice about leaving that person because of financial things that's going on. So like, I'm with this girl, but you know what? We have an apartment together. I don't even know if I could leave her now because I don't even know if I could afford to live on my own. So it affected pockets on a whole different level, on a whole different spectrum.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's not me. I'm just saying that's just an example of who, of what is going on out there. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different variables to how COVID affected people's pockets. People were getting sick, right? Healthcare. Healthcare is another thing. The health insurance companies, they were raising their rates on getting quotes because they know that people needed healthcare. And in this country in America, it's more like health don't care because it's not free, so, and you know what I'm saying? So that skyrocketed through. So that affected people's pockets as well. Even going to the grocery store, the items that would usually be a certain price, they hike those prices up. Going to the gas station, the gas even went up during COVID. So everything pretty much went up, like Miles was saying, and you guys were saying earlier, for making up for the loss of, for the businesses.
Yeah, that's a fact. They said meat went up. They said meat went up because of the farmers. Like they actually just shut down a dairy out here. Less milk production, less dairy production. So that means that everything's gonna go up now. You know what I'm saying? Because see, when you have multiple businesses thriving, businesses each in each sector, the businesses have to kind of lower the price because they got competition.
Right.
But with companies falling off or not surviving through the pandemic, then it's like, all right, well, since you out of here, that's one less competition. I could raise my shit back up 10 cent or 20 cent, 25 cent, whatever. And see, here's the thing. A lot of people don't really have a business mind. So like, you think if a guy who sells eggs in a dairy system and he's like, well, I'm raising the price of my eggs 10 cent. A lot of people not considering 10 cent, but bro, it's like 200,000 people buying a carton of eggs every 2 weeks or every week. That 10 cent is multiplied by volume. It's volume like you because you go to the thing, you go to the counter and you look at the carton of eggs and it's like, man, I paid $209 last week. Now I'm paying $219.
Right.
Like, oh well, but that's 200,000 people paying the extra 10 cent. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, that's like $20,000. That's a $20,000 difference for them 200,000 people. So that's $20,000 going into the egg companies, pockets. So it's just a lot, man. And but keep in mind that there are other countries that are worse off than us because you got like Venezuela, it takes 2 hours for somebody to get a a loaf of bread and all that type of stuff. So we still doing all right, but it's definitely different, man. Everything's a little bit different. Everything's a little bit different. COVID has really like changed everything. Like you can't turn on the fucking TV without hearing some type of news report. They talk. They just started back school. You know what I'm saying? Like even with the restaurants, like they can only seat a certain amount of people at the bars, and like everything changed. Like I know a movie theater, they opened back up for a little bit the other day, called the movie theater to go watch Black Widow. Oh, it's sorry, the recording, we're shut down. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. There's a lot of changes going on. But one thing I would say is that there's some industries that did improve because of COVID, and I say stuff like this, like online conversations, podcasts, shows, content creators. You know what I'm saying, bro, it's so much content creation right now. We got dudes in YouTube beefing for like no reason.
Right, exactly. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Niggas is out here beefing for no reason. And that's how crazy it is. But see, it's kind of like the pandemic itself has caused us to be less comfortable in the real world and more comfortable in the virtual world.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And we talked about this before. I really don't think I don't think it's an accident though. I really don't.
No, that's not an accident, man. I mean, it's to your point, Miles. I mean, it's one of those things where, like you said, the online platform all gain. Let's think about this on a real business level. Like now, jobs where you work from home, where you used to go in the office, the jobs no longer pay for that commercial property, that commercial rent. So therefore, they don't have to pay for the overhead. So who does that affect? That affects the individual, because now your light bill's going up, your water bill's going up, your heat bill's going up, and it's going up at intervals, and your job is not paying for that. Put insult to injury, you're not really getting that raise that you're supposed to go get anyway. Right. And just the average job in terms of the rates, as far as it's always behind what society rates goes up. It never matches inflation. You notice your raise never matches the inflationary. You know what I mean? So you, the individual's going further in the hole, but the business is thriving. So you think about how the pandemic affects your pockets on a deeper level. Now companies figured out, hey, hold on. Not only can I get him to work from home and I don't have to pay for overhead, I get more production. Why do I get more production out of that person? Is because naturally you're at home, so you want to make it look like you working harder. People are playing with mouses and sitting at their mouse all day, every day, working harder because they don't want the job to think that they're not really working, so they're working way harder. So now they get more production. So now that they got more production out of you, and they saving on the back end, now they put more responsibility on you. Because now they can say, damn, before you could get 70 items done in a day. Now since the pandemic, you get 110 items a day? We got a new policy now. You need to complete 116 policies a day. Like, so it's crazy. So how it affects your pockets on so many levels is crazy. So then you got people that be working online hours they're not supposed to be working on. You know what I mean? So again, increasing their light bill, increasing all this type of stuff. So the pandemic on a level is crazy. That's which leads to my next point of the podcast, where it really is like, what can we do to help with this pandemic? The truth is, we got to take it back to school, man. Like, people got to do their homework. What do I mean by that? You got to do your homework with everything. Everything. Right. The example I brought up with the cars. Listen, if you didn't know anybody, you wasn't paying attention, or not even paying attention, but just going in, you a good negotiator, you good with sales, but you go into a dealership and you're not aware that these cost us money, you will find yourself buying that used car that I was saying, that RAV4 for $25,000. But guess what? A brand new Toyota RAV4, you know what I mean, 2021, 2022, the MSRP on it is $28,000, $29,000. 90,000 miles on a car that's 5 years old, $25,000. 0 miles, 2022, an extra $4,000 to $5,000. Which one would you buy? You know what I mean? But if you don't know any better, you know what I mean, you get the used one.
Right.
And the new one that they don't have a lot of them in, if you're not prepared, you're like, damn, man, I got no choice, man. Anybody's used one. Or if you're prepared, and that's why I say do your homework, you could be like, all right, boom, you don't have none in stock. When are you going to be able to get the next delivery so I can place my order online? Even if it's 30 days or 45 days, I can get that product. But no, if you don't do your research, you walk in the building, you go ahead and buy that car for $25,000. You know what I mean? Once you get everybody that owns cars know that once you hit 100,000 miles, that's when all the problems start to go. That's why all the warranties expired at that time. So now you're gonna have to pay for maintenance. This just went wrong. That just went wrong. When in all reality, had you been smart, you would have been able to get a brand new one. At least it would have been more bang for your buck and a brand new vehicle. So it's wild, man. Like when you really look at that. But that's why I say you definitely got to do your homework, because even in that situation, you look at the interest on top of that. So literally, a car that you could have got for $16,000, you get for $21,000. Then when you add the interest compound on that, in the end, it ends up costing you an extra $6,000-$7,000 for a car. Right. Crazy.
Yo, listen. So I just pulled up this article on it's a website called Brookings.edu, and they have 10. It says 10 facts about COVID-19 and the U.S. economy. Right. So the first thing is it says small business revenue is down 20% since January. You understand? So that's small businesses. They're not doing as good. You know what I'm saying? It says the COVID-19 pandemic has been particularly damaging for small businesses, which represent the majority of businesses in the United States and employ nearly half of all private sector workers. And it says they have a figure, like a chart. It says it shows different small businesses have been affected by the downturn, highlighting severe declines in revenue among the leisure and hospitality, as well as education and health service sectors. Right. Fact number 2, it says so far only Chapter 11 bankruptcies have increased relative to last year. So bankruptcies, whether it's Chapter 7, you guys are the financial experts. The other one, the Chapter 11 and there's Chapter 7, right?
Chapter 7 and 11.
So they're saying, and what's the difference again?
Well, one of them, I gotta remember which one is which, but one, they'll go ahead and seize your assets and use your assets as some of the things to whatever, and then the other one is completely file bankrupt. So essentially, the carriers can't come after you. You completely claim zero. Nobody can come after you, and it messes up your credit even further. But the other one's kind of like a segue in between. Like, yeah, we going to bankrupt you, but we still won't have all other carriers coming after you and things of that nature. So it's just different levels, if that makes sense.
So it says the decline in business revenue has caused many firms to become insolvent. And it says, Hamilton 2020 estimates. That's like a information bureau. So they estimates that by July, nearly 420,000 small businesses had failed since the start of the pandemic. 420,000.
Wow,
that's crazy.
And I think so. Based on this, I think the Chapter 11 is the one where you just totally bankrupt, where they can't come back. They can't come back from anything, because they said that these businesses are insolvent. That means there's no recovery. Like they don't have any assets for you to try to get some money back from. You understand? Fact number 3, it says new business formations fell off in the spring, but are on track to outpace in recent years. So it says So I guess because of this, it says people kind of like fell off of creating new businesses, but it's saying that it seems like it's coming back. It says at the same time that business closures spiked in the spring, business formations lagged behind pre-crisis levels in the early months of the pandemic. But more recently, business formations have begun to increase. So it looked like people had one idea, right, before the pandemic, like, oh, I'm gonna start a business that does this. And then the pandemic kind of messed all that up. Like, nah, that type of business don't work in this new environment. So now people are coming up with new business ideas that are actually COVID pandemic friendly. You see what I'm saying? Let me see. Layoffs and shutdowns. Right. So fact number 4, it says layoffs and shutdowns and not reduced average hours are driving in total hours worked. Layoffs and shutdowns and not reduced hours are driving in total hours worked. So it says the labor market devastation caused by this pandemic has been the quickest and most severe in the United States history. Many firms reacted to COVID-19 pandemic by reducing their operations. It says the total number of hours worked fell by 60% in March, while the daily hours began to rise again in mid-April, and they leveled off at around 25% below the baseline in June. You know what I'm saying? So that's that whole shit when he's talking about, even in the restaurant where you got to wait a little bit longer to get service because it's less people working. You know what I'm saying? And they do less hours working. You feel me? So it's crazy. Let me see. It says the number of labor force participants not at work quadrupled in January to April. That's where we was talking about them not having to go to a brick and mortar office building anymore. You know what I'm saying? Right. It says during economic contractions, the share of the population that is employed declines. Right. It says hold on. It says from March to April, the number of prime age people participating in the labor force but not working rose from 7.9 million to 19.6 million.
So wait, 19 million people is not working.
That's what it says. 19 people not in the labor force. It says that increase was largely driven by a 10.3 percentage point rise in the unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate has risen 10.3%, and that's responsible for from 7.9 million. So that's like 8 to like 19.6, which is about 20. So we're looking at 12 million people,
right?
That's not working, and that were working before. You know what I'm saying? It says fact number 6: the number of people not in the labor force who want a job spiked 4.5 million in April and has remained elevated. So more people want jobs now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because times is getting hard, and I don't hear nobody in the government talking about any more stimulus checks or any more COVID loans and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It says fact number 7: in April 2020, United States personal savings rate reached its highest recorded level. So it says one of the immediate effects of COVID-19 pandemic was a sharp decline in aggregate spending and a sharp increase in savings. So a lot, and that's another thing that greatly affects the economy. People are less comfortable spending money, so everybody's really holding on to their money.
Right.
And what do we know about money? Money works best when it's in flow, meaning that when we're spending money, other people are making money, and whatever company you own is also making money because there's more money circulating in the economy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that affects the economy in the way that a lot of people are afraid and probably only, purchasing necessities like, food and shelter and all that. Like, let me pay my rent. Let me make sure my kids are fed. And that's that. Like, no Jordans for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta keep it tight because we don't know how crazy this pandemic might get. It says fact number 8: low-income families with children. And if y'all want to jump in as I'm reading these facts, feel free. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it says low-income families with children were most likely to experience an income shock. So it says during the COVID-19 recession, job loss and labor income loss have not been experienced equally. Since March, low-income households, non-white households, and households with children were most likely to experience an income shock. You know what I'm saying? It says about half of Black and Hispanic households experienced an income shock recently. Hispanic families without children are most likely to experience an income shock.
So
hold on one second. Let me just finish. It found that 61% of Hispanic adults said in April that they or someone in their household experienced a job or wage loss. Wow. All right, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I mean that's to go back off. You brought up some great points with the articles, all that. All that's accurate, especially with COVID on a serious level. COVID does affect, unfortunately, low income Black and Spanish communities the most right now, and uncomfortable topic. And I know everybody has a bunch of different views on this, but that shot, taking the COVID shot, is a huge part of it. The reason being is that a lot of Black and brown communities are the working force, and so with these processes being implemented, where if you're not vaccinated, and a lot of jobs, now they're starting to mandate stuff, but before it was indirect mandating. So what does that mean? I can't tell you not to get that shot, but if you don't get that shot, you might magically lose your job. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, with our community. Definitely a good percentage just don't believe in the shot, which is fine, but it is affecting us because in terms of jobs, just naturally we do a lot of physical labor type stuff. So therefore, right. We be not being blackballed. I'm not going far to say that, but it does actually affect it because if you think about it logically, on top of that too, with low income housing is that if you're getting unemployment because the unemployment rate, you may actually make just as much because of the programs that's in that if you were to go to work, you're not going to go to work. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're making more at home, why would you go to work naturally?
Right.
And I think it's just one of the uncomfortable conversations we have as a community. But let's be honest, the difference between, generally speaking, not saying everybody, but generalization, which is 70%, when it comes to both different cultures and races and things of that nature, is that typically not everybody, not saying black people, it's not going to offend nobody black or Spanish, but a Caucasian individual might say like, all right, I'm in the unemployment, I'm making more money unemployed, but what I'm going to do, because I know this is not going to last forever, so I'm going to use this money wisely, save it or invest it, and then I will go back to work because I'm going to take advantage of the market because there's not a lot of jobs out there, so they're going to pay me more money, so that money I saved and invested, it's making money, and I got mental time off because I wasn't working, and now I'm going back to the workforce when it's hot, when, oh, you're going to pay me a little bit more money, come back, now I'm going to go back. But we have to have the honest conversation with ourselves why it affects our community in general more is because that other person's like, oh, what? Oh, you're gonna pay me more not to work? Then I'm just not gonna go to work. I'm gonna milk it till the wheels fall off versus taking advantage of the opportunity to increase your wealth.
Right.
Crazy. So that's kind of like a little breakdown.
It's two more facts. Fact number 9. It says in 26 states, more than 1 in 5 households will be behind in rent in July. And July just passed, so
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying about the whole rent situation. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were living with somebody, you might not even want to be there, or you might want to be there. But point is, at this point, you have no choice. You got to be there now. You get what I'm saying? Just because you literally can't afford to do anything else.
It's crazy because there was a story on a show that we did the other day. And remember, Lucario, the landlord shot he shot like a bunch of his a bunch of the people that rent from him. He shot like 2 or 3 different people that lived in the building.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Shot him?
Yeah. Huh?
He shot him?
He shot them. Yes. He went up in the crib. He went up in multiple apartment units and started shooting people.
Right.
What happened? He just snapped?
Yeah, basically. Because listen, bro. We talked about this, right? And look, I'm laughing not because it's funny, but because it's ridiculous.
I get you. It's
right.
I get you.
But the thing is, you got to remember, man, when you own property, see, if you pay rent, a lot of cities. The city is on your side, the renter side, right? So you have at least a couple of months to kind of like get yourself together before you even have to pay me the first late payment.
Right.
Well, me owning property, if the bank still owns my building, the bank don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah.
Once the 15 hit, usually they give you a grace period from the 15th to the 20th. But once the 20th hit or the end of the month hit and you haven't paid, that's a late payment and that's affecting your credit. And so that puts you in dire straits if you want to buy other property. And then not too long after that, they're going to try to foreclose on the shit. And you understand what I'm saying? And then on top of that, what also might happen is if the bank takes ownership of the property, the messed up part is that the person renting from you might get kicked out anyway.
Right.
Because the bank might acquire the building and they say, you know what, this old rundown building, let's revamp this place and turn it into luxury condos and get these low income people out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all niggas got to pay y'all rent. You know what I'm saying? Because number one, I'm gonna lose the building, and number two, they might kick y'all ass out anyway.
Right.
You understand? And the reason why I say that is because he probably was feeling the pressure from the bank, like, yo, these tenants are not paying their damn rent.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they kept giving him sob stories, or probably not being serious about it, or you understand what I'm saying? And he went up. I think the story was that he went up in 3 different units and just started shooting people. Like he snapped. He lost it.
Right.
You know what you was gonna say?
No, I was gonna go back off your point, Miles. Like this is not a game. You know, I mean, I'm literally in a current situation right now with a relative with I'm assisting. We're trying to get a tenant out because of the new rules with the pandemic. You cannot evict anybody. In the state of Connecticut specifically, you can
That's
only
why you gotta
evict
kill
a
him.
person. You are.
Look, sorry. No, that's in bad taste. I'm sorry.
But the only, literally in the state of Connecticut, the only way you can evict someone literally is if they're behind 6 months consecutively. That's the only way. All the other eviction rules are off the table. So literally, I have a situation with a relative. We've been evicting someone since February of this year. And we're finally getting to evict them next week. We have the final court hearing. That's how serious it is. So to your point, if someone is not paying their rent, you're losing money, you know, as a landlord. And so it does cause people to snap. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, to go on your point before, no, that building is going to kick you out because guess what? After they take over the building and they make updates, they're going to jack up the prices and they're going to kick you out because you can't afford them.
You can't pay. Because if you late on your payments when it's this low, nigga, you can't pay these luxury condo prices. Get out of here.
Right.
And it's crazy because that segues into another random point that we didn't even think about or talk about is that the reality of the situation, because the housing market is the way it is because of the pandemic and there's no houses, because people can't buy any houses because there's just none there, naturally you have to go with the next best thing. Damn, I can't get this house, so let me get this luxury apartment. Ding, 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 ding. So all these luxury buildings jacking up the prices, literally affecting your pockets. So you can't find a house. And then when you can't find a house, now you're paying rent for a luxury apartment in certain parts of the country, say Jersey, where I'm at right now, for a luxury apartment, they range from like $2,200 to $4,000 a month people are paying. You know what I mean? Because you can't buy a house, so you at least want to feel better about yourself. I don't got a house, but at least my apartment look like a condo, all jacked up. So that's literally how the pandemic is affecting your pockets on many levels. And if you notice in all the areas where everybody live at that's on this podcast, if you notice, buildings are going up everywhere.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Rashidi. Your opinion on, like, just the other day, they talked about how crazy the housing market is. How is it that people are buying houses and they building all these apartments and people are moving into these apartments, but at the same time they're saying that the economy is bad? And you understand what I'm saying? How does that work? Like, what's the explanation on that?
Magic.
It's not magic. It's people that got money and everybody planning and capitalizing on everybody's, hard times. So what do I mean with the buildings? To answer your question, what happens is that a lot of these homeowners, especially about to get foreclosed, and a lot of these people that buy up the land and property and buildings and stuff like that do have money. They know that the owner, the person that has that property on there or has that land, they're going to give it up because they don't have enough money to currently survive, or they see an opportunity to make an extra $50,000. But a person that has $500,000 in the bank might say, yo, let me go ahead and buy your land from you. I know it's worth 50. Let me give you 65. So what they do is they buy that property now for that little bit more money. The smaller person made more money. The bigger person now can take all that land, build buildings on it, and now that's how they make all that money. Literally, that's what's happening is buildings, people that saved up money or is a great financial position, wealthy, or very rich, buy up a bunch of property, build a whole bunch of buildings on there. So by the time with the people that can't buy the house, they're gonna run to them to go ahead and rent out
an apartment prices.
And so that's what they're doing. They're running people out the neighborhoods. Then on top of that, to go deep, is that because the bans are getting ready to get lifted because the president can't hold on but for so long, all these people can foreclose on people. So all these people are gonna get foreclosed on. So the other part of it is these homeowners, to your point, Miles, all these homeowners now, they're going to get evicted now. They're going to get foreclosed on. The bank can foreclose on them. This eviction is on the banks right now, too. Banks can't foreclose on people.
Oh, but shit, for real?
Yeah.
When they lift the ban, niggas is out of here.
Yeah, I think they might just lift the ban like last week or something like that. It's upcoming real now. The president can't hold on anymore because the president was trying to avoid giving banks the authority to foreclose on people because he doesn't want it's turned to a homeless thing where the banks just evict everybody, foreclose everybody, take their houses, and then nobody will know where, it's cause a homeless crisis. But the point is, to your point though, is that now people are going to start losing their houses and getting foreclosed on, and those people that got money again that can buy buildings, gonna buy that property, knock it down, just like the movies where you see somebody knock down a bunch of houses on that same street and build a whole building complex and make money. And that's why you see it all. Look at you everywhere I go. Look how many buildings are going up. There's a reason for it.
Crazy apartment complexes going up everywhere around where I'm at now. And you go to these cities, there's cranes all up and through the city. And wherever you see cranes, that means constructions. That means money is being spent. Period. But see, the thing I was going to say, it sounds like basically the pandemic kind of stretched the game out, and the rich is getting rich and poor is getting poorer.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. That's why it's the point of that's why it's doing your homework. That's why it's one of those things where I think more now than ever, which is real serious, that people they don't have to take serious, but you're going to fall behind, is that you have to seize the moment and be smart about what you're doing.
Right.
So what does that mean? If you want to live life lollygaggy, like it's going to be all right, it's going to be okay. Honestly, you're going to survive because nobody really just dies. So it's not a real thing. But that's all it is. You're gonna survive. But if you're in a position where, yeah, exactly. If you're in a position where you can take advantage of the situation, you can snatch yourself up a little house right now, all that type of stuff, it's gonna be worth the money. Think about it. Every 10 years, the house values almost double and triple. So that means if you buy a house right now for $300,000, likely 10 years from now, that house is gonna be worth $900,000. No exaggeration. Not to put my personal business out there, but the house that we had that we grew up in the Bronx that we owned, it's now selling for double the money. That house, you know what I mean, was worth at the time $500,000 when he sold. Now it's worth $900,000 in the Bronx. That was 2012. That was 2012. 2012 was sold. That's 2012.
Oh shit!
At today's current market, same house, $900,000. So that's why I say like it's just season moments, man.
That's great.
Oh, and I just want to put it out there. I consulted with Rashidi, and he put me in touch with a mortgage guy. You know what I'm saying? And I've been corresponding with him, and it's been pretty cool. So I just want to say, if y'all anybody in the chat, anybody watching this, look, these guys are solid. Like they got connections all up and through the industry, whether it's financials, whether you're trying to acquire property, whatever. Like these guys got contacts, bro. Like you see my man coming back from Vegas with the fresh baldy. And the suit jacket with the t-shirt, living life like he got extra leisurely income and shit. Like it's not a game, bro. Like if you trying to be like that, you gotta holler at my mans in them. You feel me? RKT appraisals all day.
Well,
shout out to Goldie in the chat for putting in a lot of facts. Right. He was explaining the difference. He got chapter 13, chapter 7, chapter 11. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Goldie for doing that. We appreciate you, bro, because we all just want to learn, you know what I'm saying? And that's important.
Right. This is the last thing I want to ask y'all about the whole COVID thing. So and in New York, I don't know about the other places, they got the thing where they're starting the whole mandatory, or not mandatory, but you can't get into restaurants and gyms without the
vaccination cards.
Yes, I haven't been to my original gym since then, but I go to the gym at my girl's crib. She got a gym in her building. So what do you think is going to happen, or how crazy do you think is going to be as far as businesses are concerned, of how much money you think they're going to lose based off of the fact that because it's certain people that's just not vaccinated and not getting the vaccine. So how do you think that's going to affect those businesses and shit? You know what I'm saying?
The question is what businesses is going to affect. Really, it's only going to really affect businesses that are in certain areas predominantly.
Like what? Like restaurants, hospitality, things like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the area you're in. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because it's all about the percentage of people that's vaccinated. So to your point, in an area that you may live in, Mr. LaCar, which I'm familiar with the area you live in, it's probably about 75% of people in the area probably is vaccinated. So truth be told, though, like to your point, that gym you go to, they're really not affected by you not showing up, so they don't really care. But now you put it in a different neighborhood, you know what I mean, where it's the reverse, where 75% is not vaccinated, they hit. So now what they have to do, to your point, is they have to revise their business. And let's be honest, they're gonna have to revise their business or go bankrupt, or let some people slide in that's not vaccinated, or them little fake cards that's out there, they're gonna probably turn a blind eye to let some people in through a loophole, through a technicality. Like I'm not the person to verify this. It looked real, so they can't get in trouble because they don't want to go out of business. Right. So the real thing is, to answer your point, is that it's multiple ways. Either you revise your business strategy, which takes a lot of work, takes a lot of people out of their comfort zone. Because if you've been eating good for 20 years running your business and this abrupt change happened, it's kind of hard to revamp and evolutionize. Right. If you're not that type of person. So that type of person, either they're gonna break the rules, bend the rules, or just straight up go out of business, get bankrupt, hide their money somewhere else, and then claim bankruptcy, and then start over doing something different in a different area. Or that's pretty much all you can do, to be quite honest with you, to answer your real question. And as far as the individuals, the people like yourself, only thing you can do, like you said, is find somewhere else to work out or find a different way to work out. So it's all about just honestly readapting, to tell you the truth.
Let me find out. Lucario gonna be at the You're gonna be in the park with the.
Yeah, I'm about to say that. Go to the park. Go to the monkey bar.
Remember the bartenders, niggas?
Right. Go to the monkey bar.
Right.
He going back to the New York ways where you jump on the light post and do some pull-ups. So you remember them dudes that pull-ups at the light post?
That's it. That's what I would do. Now, I mean, and here's my opinion on that. I think a lot of businesses will go bankrupt. Honestly, a lot of businesses will go bankrupt, depending on what business it is too. Something like the gym, right? I don't care what area the Planet Fitness is in, right? Planet Fitness is Planet Fitness. Like at some point in time, if because of social distancing and COVID and everything like that, that's gonna falter naturally. They're gonna go out of business if this whole pandemic they don't get it together with this whole pandemic. As far as the vaccine is, and it's like I said, it depends on business to business. There's certain businesses that are still going to stay afloat because of what business it is. If you're thinking about the food industry, like a supermarket, supermarkets ain't going nowhere. People got to eat still. America still has to run. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it just depends on what business it is. There's certain businesses. Think about it like this. Think about it like when you were in school. You had your major classes, and then you had your minor classes, like your electives. All the electives, it's extra. You don't really need it. It's just there to fill in the spaces. And that's what, you know what I'm saying? And those are the same thing with big businesses. There's certain businesses that they're just there to fill in spaces. It's there for our luxury. Those are going to go out of business, hands down. Even me being out here in North Carolina, there's certain businesses I'm like, I can't believe this business. I see why this business is like a bakery. Like nobody needs to eat cupcakes. Right. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Nobody needs it. It tastes good and people like it, but nobody needs it. So something like that will go out of business. But then something like a T-Mobile or Verizon, that's not going nowhere. It's you know what I'm saying? So it just depends on what business it is. Now, as far as the vaccination, I don't know how it is. You could tell me. They said that you need a vaccination card to get into like a club or a bar or certain places. You do need a vaccination card.
Yeah, like the fucking restaurants and the gyms. That's what he's saying for right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's fact.
So here's what happened. I'm sorry, I mean control. Last thing I'll say is that when it comes to that now, there are some people who are already vaccinated, right? The truth is, not everybody's getting vaccinated. So I'm not saying those businesses will lose money. I'm not saying they're going to go out of business. Right, something like a bar, they're going to lose money though, a lot of money. Some people are just not going to take the vaccination shot, hands down. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like Rashidi said, some of them gonna have to revamp their shit, because I went to a bar the other night where they asked for your vaccination card, and if you didn't have it, they let you in, but they escorted you to the back. You have to sit outside with the non-vaccinated people. Right. That's if you didn't have a card. So I mean, shout out to them that they have a backyard area. You know what I'm saying? But not every bar is gonna have that. Right. So they're only going to be able to service people that got either vaccinations or fake vaccinations. But again, this is a whole other thing. I think the bottom line, for my closing remarks, is that try to get as rich as possible before the next phase of the new world order. Period. Right. That's it. Because this is it. Like, they've been telling us shit for years, and everyone, yo, man, conspiracy theories, man, these guys are idiots and blah blah blah. But it's happening now. Get the vaccine. The niggas are like, yo, and by the way, niggas is dying with the vaccine.
Right, exactly.
Your people are dying from COVID who've been vaccinated. Now they're telling us we need a third shot.
Right.
Yeah. The booster
Where does it end?
Exactly.
I don't know, bro. But appreciate y'all for being on, man.
Sir.
Shout out to all the people that was in the chat hanging out with us. You know what I'm saying? Again, try to get as rich as possible before the next fucking thing, the next pandemic, the next fucking downturn. Shit. Watch what's going on in Afghanistan. Like, who knows? It might be a whole nother war. Like, who fucking knows, bro? This shit is crazy, man. So, set your money right. Do what you got to do. Take care of your family. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Facts. And guys, make sure you guys go to rktappraisals.com.
Yeah.
Check out Rashidi and Salim. And anything else y'all want to say before we get up out of here?
No, my last piece is just at the end of the day, everybody just start doing your homework. You know what I mean? Nothing simple anymore. Pay attention before you buy something. See if you get a better price.
Yeah.
Just don't ever pay the first price. Do some research. It's too easy now to find information on everything. Nothing. Right. People can't even lie anymore. So I don't want to hear people getting sucked in. I can't. You know what I mean? Like, research everything is my final message before you buy anything.
And my last thing I would say is that what the pandemic has taught me is that you can't necessarily rely on the government too much for your sustainability of life.
Right.
So understand that you're going to have to go beyond desperate measures just to survive in the future. So just for example, make sure that you always have certain necessities inside your house, right? And then also be willing to be ready to move at any given point in time. Where, I can't tell you where, but don't get too comfortable with being complacent on where you're at in your current situation. Because at any given point in time, things can change and you have to adapt to the new way of life. As you can see, nobody knew that COVID was going to be this detriment to America, and it has been, not only to America, but to the whole world. So I say that to say this, just always continue to plan on what's your next 5 moves.
Right. That's
and keep that in mind. Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will holler at y'all next week. We out of here.